Rodrigo, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. We have different questions, and we have seen that this is not going to be enough time. We have a lot of questions, but the question is for Sergio mostly, and just for Sergio. My parents live in Argentina. They are not technological minded. And there's a lot of people who are like that, especially in the solidarity sector, because we see that our social base, our membership is growing old. And when we talk technology, they feel a bit overwhelmed. They don't understand. So cooperatives decide to continue in their simpler, more basic process, which is a rational way to do that, because a lot of people did not went beyond fax machine. Others need another technology option. So I can ask you, and especially with Sergio, you know the territory, what has been the experience of digital transformation of Credit Cup that has made it possible for the generations, not the new ones that already have a chip, but how the new generations, together with the older generations, over 50, over 60 years old, and how has been that? And Copeuch has done some transformation. They are thinking globally, acting locally. And we want to reach people who don't know English, don't have access to technology, close. So how can they start using the Cabal card, which is a milestone? So to see, we can have an integration of financial cooperatives with our own cooperative brand. So Sergio, and then Viviana, Rodrigo, you can chime in. I was going to make a joke regarding the languages. We need, we really are defenders of our language, but we will need to have other languages. But once we sent to central bank request for authorization to install electronic devices, we wanted to have an ATM, and they said, what are we talking about? Because they did not want to, they did not know. That's for them an ATM, not a cash dispenser. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's the language, because in Spanish you call it a cash dispenser, but for them it was an ATM. They were using the English equivalent. But now going back to the adoption of technology by people of that are older, and that is for the whole society. In Argentina, in particular, we have worked from organizations, especially with the elderly, with regarding, for example, digital capture, for example, of photographs, so they can get their pensions. And we are working and we are still working with the criterion of an omni-channel. So multiple channels available and people choose that. We still have over 200 branch offices, and unlike other banks, we are not closing them. So a lot of private banks were closing branches. Now we're opening them. We just opened one last week, and in Tigre, in province of Buenos Aires, we're going to be opening another one next month, and people choose still to go face to face. So we will have people to service them. We also have a call center, also very important to get. We also have technology, bot technology or chatbots, and for usual questions, and the development of our banking and services, especially internet banking and mobile banking. And we're also developing a new technology that is highly valued internationally and is also being hired by other banks, which are talking about digital solutions for the development of services. We have to be with people or not marginalize them if they do not choose a given channel. We offer them different ways, and we're in a process that, unlike other traditional entities, which is adjustment processes or reengineering, we are advancing in a process that we call of retraining of our personnel, of our human resources, or personnel. So if they have had to be in another function because their previous function has been automated, we place them in another function. So the idea is that we developed its relationing, which is a cooperative topic. It's to link cooperatives. So we're talking about business relationing. And this relationing is based on mutual help, commitment, solidarity. So I support them in services, and people and businesses will also support each other and the bank. And thus we generate this virtuous cycle of relationships, of economic and social linkages or bonds. So this relationing helps us work with people, help people, and have people participate in our banks operation. We just had the ordinary or regular assembly. We had about 1,000 delegates participating, identified with regulations, etc. Also, 4,000 people participated who are employees and others who were guests. We have very important events in different situations, and we even had a threat to certain positions that we have with a project that we call, and we, which Credit Cop and Community. And we had virtual participation of 15,000, including senators, the president of the republic, a lot of people who operate with our bank. So we try to develop technologies and all digital elements that can be administered, both in service provision and in the institutional life. Thank you, Sergio. So here we really have to take into account a concept that is key, which is to have the associate, the member, the customer centric at the center. So we need to know about the characteristics of the different elements with which we interact. So a digital transformation in the organization does not mean that we're going to have 100% of our members using just digital channels. Part of them, of the population, will go to the branches. But when you get to the branch, how, with digital transformation of internal processes, we can improve their experience in their face-to-face interaction. And if you are doing that digitally, that's where we have omni-channel as well. So in any channel we can offer you that experience. And we have a process, training process, that it's our responsibility to have that training process that shows benefits of being able to have digital transactions. But we need to know in the different market segments to know about their characteristics and to have the services and productions that satisfy this better. So, Rodrigo, yeah, really animated. And I would like to share with you a strategic decision we made. To advance in digitalization, and we see very clearly that we are going to see a reconfiguration of the finance industry. And this reconfiguration has to deal with the new actors, non-incumbent actors. Sergio knows about Mercado Libre, Mercado Bank. So with this disruption that we have, in particular the financial industry, we reflected and say we need to have a strategic to think about the sustainability of the cooperative. It's going to be a digital cooperative, and we are going to have all branches. I'm going to be a new online cooperative. You know what? I am going to continue my processes, and we have decided to do both things. So right now, and that goes with this fintech that was purchased with digital platforms, and with this are going to have a new cooperative, a neo-cooperative, using independent resources with its own technological platform. It already has 170, and we are going to keep growing and to provide a strategic option and take into account this disruption. It is a cooperative, a platform, but it's a separate platform. And of course, we have continued working and reinforcing Copeuch in a more traditional manner, as a phygital. And people are then able to choose their channel. And identifying and I want to reflect again that digital relationship does not mean to be apart from others. And the digital transformation is an opportunity to have even greater social impact in Latin America, in their different community. So I wanted to share this reflection and the decision of having two live strategies, joint strategies, to keep in a more traditional world with innovation, digitalization, and to have a 100% digital cooperative to reconfigure the financial industry because that reconfiguration is happening. And I agree with you, Sergio, about the importance of supporting our members and go towards being able to train them and bring them closer to new technologies. And those members who continue having a preference for traditional channels. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Do you have an international ambassadors? He is a patriot, Mario Rodrigan. Last time when I was in Santiago and I was in the cooperative, and I see that Copuch members are passionate, but we don't have a lot of time and we have a lot of questions. So because of time, we are going to read the questions and you are going to choose them. We have had them by chat and and uh, people who are writing in the chat. The first one, and we have a lot of them. And what conditions do we require so they make the best decisions? And next question, how to avoid the loss of identity? And they think that if the cooperative modernizes, it may lose its identity. I don't want to talk about that. We're talking about isomorphism. And we have a professor or investigator who was in Luis Ramirez. He was talking about isomorphism. And they are like a bank by investing in technology. And how to reduce digital gap in cooperatives. And what we have in other aspects to compete against banks. And we're going to see that in the chat. And how to mix this with open banking and cooperative identity. And how do with transformation without losing values. And this is something logistics for Lauren. And Carlos Montoya again. So how do you go with this without losing cooperative values? Oscar Severo from Mexico. What percentage of operations in the branches have been reduced due to this digital channels? And we have interesting concept of technology and presence. And Miguel Angel Corrales from Mexico is also asking from Rodrigo. Do we have the learnings for the acquisition of fintechs? And these are the questions. I'm sorry that there are a lot of questions and not that much time. So choose a question and, or if possible, combine questions. So how much can we work? 5 minutes, or
Bueno, tenemos aproximadamente ya
we have
contando las
about,
preguntas, 10 minutos para
we
todos,
have 10 minutes in total,
10 minutos para José
and
Francisco y
then
10 minutos de copia para que
and
pueda
another 10
seguir.
minutes for Jose Francisco. So Jose Francisco, hadn't seen you. That is the new language of virtuality. Vivian, Sergio,
José Francisco.
and and we have then.
Ok, perfecto. Bueno, voy a utilizar mi permiso. Yo creo que lo
I
importante acá en el
think
proceso de transformación
that
digital
what is
es que el
important
plan y la
here is
estrategia
that we, when
de
we have the
transformación
strategy
digital se haga
of
desde
the
la base de
transformation,
nuestros valores
is
cooperativos.
from the basis of cooperative values,
Definitivamente el tema de ser cooperativo
and
puede ser una
being
gran
cooperative
propuesta de
can
valor.
be a
El
great
tema
value
es
proposal,
comunicar más cuáles son todas estas
and
ventajas
we
que tiene
have
el sector
to
cooperativo.
communicate
Entonces,
the advantage of the
tenemos que
cooperative
establecer la estrategia de la
model,
transformación
to
digital
establish
con
the
base
strategy of the
en nuestros
transformation
valores cooperativos.
based
Número dos,
on
cuando se piensa
cooperative
en la estrategia de
values.
transformación digital, lo primero que
When we
tenemos
think
que
about
tener en
digital
cuenta son
transformation,
las necesidades y
is
conocer muy
that
bien
we
a
have to
nuestros
know
clientes
about
para
our
que con base en
customers and
esas
members,
necesidades nosotros podamos tomar decisiones.
because
Desde
based on
luego,
that we
nosotros
can make
establecemos una estrategia
decisions.
basada en datos.
We have
Estamos
had a
una
data-driven
organización data
strategy.
driving.
We are a
Básicamente,
data-driven
y esa data la
organization,
utilizamos para conocer a
and
nuestros
this
asociados
data
y
we use to
modificar
know our customer
nuestros procesos y nuestras
and
soluciones
to
con base en esas
tailor our
necesidades. Creo
processes
que eso es
based on
importante.
their needs. And
Número
that's a
tres, no
fundamental
utilizar la
value,
tecnología como
and
fin, sino
not
como
use
herramienta para
technology as an end.
identificar
It is a means.
necesidades que tengamos
Once
que
we
identificar y hacer
identify
las mejoras, ahí
the
es donde
needs
pensar
and
en el tema de
what
la
we need to do
tecnología.
that, then we can think about
Otro punto
technology.
clave es no se trata
Last
de hacer las cosas solo
thing,
nosotros, sino que también
let's not say
identificar
that
aquellas
we're the only
instituciones,
ones that we can
aquellas
do things.
fintechs,
We can find
para poder generar
SureTech, fintech,
estrategias de
etc., that
transformación
can
digital.
help us generate strategies. Great. But here I would like Sergio to tell us.
Digamos, concuerdo con lo
I
dicho
agree with Vivian.
¿no? Hay unas cuantas de las primeras preguntas
Some of the
tienen que
main
ver también
questions could be
no perder el norte, digamos,
in
no
not to
perder
lose
nuestra orientación,
our
digamos, no perder nuestra esencia.
our
La
essence.
cuestión es la digitalización, los procesos digitales, las nuevas tecnologías, como
The
herramienta
digital
para generar mayor
processes
volumen de desarrollo, para poder
are
diversificar
to
los
have a more
clientes,
volume of
de
development,
las empresas, poder prestar los servicios con mayor eficiencia, poder competir
to
más.
have a more
Obviamente lo que nos tiene que tener
efficient
como
services.
objetivo principal es lo que de alguna manera cada una de las
But
organizaciones seguramente
what
privado
each
considere como
organization
misión, ¿no?
has defined as their mission, it would be their reason for being,
prestar servicios a las personas, a las pymes, a las entidades
that to provide
desarrolladoras
services
para un
for
mejor
people,
crecimiento
for
y mejor desarrollo de
SMEs,
Argentina, en el caso
so
particular
they can have
de
better
Argentina society.
development,
Si nuestro
including
objetivo
that
es ese, no
of
tiene que estar
the
subsumido de
Argentinian
alguna manera
society.
en eso, sino
Everything is not should be subsumed in that,
dejamos de tener la identidad, dejamos de
so
perder
we don't have the identity anymore.
nuestro camino. El resto
We lose our way.
son tareas que se pueden hacer de una
And
manera o de
these
otra,
are things that can be
desarrolladas a
done
partir de la compra
or
de
can be
una fintech,
developed
de asociación con otras fintech,
in association with other
a
fintechs,
partir del desarrollo
or
propio,
integration, or with our own
a partir de
development.
normas del Banco Central y de tecnología.
And
Hay
with the
muchas cosas que
technology,
tienden a
we
desaparecer.
can go
Los
no
cheques se pueden pagar de
longer,
forma digital,
for
electrónica,
example,
desde nuestros
checks.
celulares o de otros
Now we are paying by a cell phone
dispositivos. Los sistemas de
and
cobranza
using
en las
other
conccesiones, de servicios públicos, de transporte, de
devices,
transportación.
other,
Desarrollamos también
we
aplicaciones que
are
permiten
developing applications
compartir las
that
conclusiones
allow us to
con los
share
asociados usuarios para que
them
puedan
with the different
llevar
users
a
and
buen puerto
associates
sus cobranzas.
so they can do their own collections.
El onboarding, digamos, uno podría llegar a decir,
The
las cuentas se
onboarding
tienen que abrir en forma digital.
could be in
Saludos,
and
Nuria.
We have somebody opening their mic.
Rodrigo, saludos a Siria.
Sí, se acaba de conectar Siria. Ya le mando un
Okay,
saludo.
Un
we
cariño
have
grande.
Syria again.
Grande.
Okay,
Sí, sí.
okay,
Un
so,
cariño para eso. Entonces, ya cerrando,
so,
Rodrigo, perdón. Este, podemos hacer el onboarding de forma
so
digital,
we
correcto,
can
porque no tenemos
do
forma de
the
manejarlo, no sé,
onboarding
crear cuentas,
in a
registrarnos,
digital
tarjetas
manner.
comerciales, de crédito. Pues son todos procesos que pueden
So all
armarse
these are
fuera
processes
como una fintech
that
separada,
can be in
segregada,
a separate
aparte de cada uno
fintech
de los bancos, cada uno de las
or
organizaciones. Cada uno entiende
inside each
cuál es
of
la
the
mejor solution y
organization.
cuál es la que se adapta mejor a sus
Everybody
necesidades.
understand what
Lo
is
que me parece que tiene que ser
best
común a
suited to
todos
their reality.
es la de no perder el foco, de tener
But we need
nuestro objetivo puesto
not to
en todo lo
lose
demás
our
para ofrecer servicios
focus,
a nuestros asociados, a los
to
clientes
develop
y
more
bueno,
and better
principalmente a
services
nuestros clientes
for
y usuarios.
our members.
Nada más. Gracias.
That would be all. Great manager of time. Saw it, sir, in Panama and ICI Americas when it was still. So
Gracias,
we hear you.
Rodrigo. Bueno, sí, se acaba de unir Siria.
Syria just
Siria es la
joined
presidenta de Copeuch.
the president of Copeuch,
Antes de ser la presidenta,
and before
lleva
that,
6 años y yo tuve
and she's been the
de
president
asumir la
for
gerencia general después de ella, pero ella fue
6 years.
24 años gerente general de
She
Copeuch
was general manager of Copeuch
y
for
ingreso a
24
alto cargo, por
years
cierto, también de
and
Asia
also
Americas.
member of the board of
Y bueno,
ICI Americas, ICI Americas,
representante y líder, ¿cierto?, de las mujeres en el movimiento cooperativo
and
latinoamericano.
representative of the Latin American
Con
women's
gusto
movement.
la saludo, bueno, yo hablo a cada rato con ella en todo caso, pero
And
ella está en otro país, ¿cierto? Y
she
tuve
is in another
la
country,
delicadeza
but she was kind enough
ingresar
of being with
a esta
us
plataforma. Así que la saludo
to
a
this
ambas
platform.
con mucho cariño,
So
Siria, de
welcome
todos los compañeros latinoamericanos que
from
estamos acá
all of
hablando
us here in
de
Latin America.
digitalización
We're
y
talking
mantenimiento
about
de una identidad
digitalization
cooperativa con alta
and
calidad. Yo debo
maintaining
contar que
cooperative identity.
hubieron varias preguntas, habían 10, 8 preguntas,
And
y
we
una en
had
particular que me
8 or
llamó la
10
atención
questions,
respecto del tema
and
de qué
there
nos
was
costó
one
para nosotros
regarding
comprar una
what
fintech.
was for us buying a
Cosa que
fintech.
más me gusta de las que
The
escuché
one
en el
that I
tema
like the
para
most
reforzar cierto
of the ones that I
la
heard,
importancia estratégica que tiene
it's
el
regarding
tema
strategic
de
importance.
modernizarse, el tema
It's
de
that
avanzar en esta
modernizing,
transformación digital no
especially
necesariamente
transformation,
va
is not
opuesto a mantener la identidad cooperativa. Yo quiero
something
también
that is
reforzar
opposite of maintaining
ojalá
cooperative
con mucha
identity.
humildad
And I would really like to
decir que
tell you
nosotros a través de la
from our
transformación digital
experience
hemos reforzado
is
nuestra identidad
that
cooperativa.
with digital transformation, we have
Hemos llegado a muchos
reinforced,
empresarios,
strengthened
¿cierto?
our cooperative
Hemos
identity.
entregado
We have
una
reached
experiencia
more
única y hemos
people,
fortalecido
given
relaciones
them
humanas con
great
ellos.
experiences, strengthened our human
Obviamente también
relations,
nos hemos adaptado a sus
and
propias necesidades.
adapted
Ahí Viviana
to
hablaba
their needs.
del
For
miembro
example,
centro. El
Viviana
tema
said
más importante y distintivo
member-centric,
significa, ¿cierto?, entender las necesidades
and
de las
this
personas
means
y darles
understanding the
lo
needs
que
of
ellos
people
necesitan,
and
¿cierto?
giving them
Obviamente
what
tiene que ver
they
con que
need.
uno tiene que poner a disposición
And we have
la
to give them
accesibilidad.
all the channels they need for
Lo mismo
that,
le pasa a los 7 principios cooperativos. No
omni-channels.
hay ninguno que no se pueda potenciar
So
bajo esta lógica de avanzar
there's nothing
la
that we
inclusión, la
cannot
diversidad y el
do
igualitario.
with this
Nosotros le podemos
logic.
contar, por ejemplo, que
And
la inclusión
we can
financiera y
tell you the
económica digital
financial
para Copeuch
inclusion
se
for
puede hacer,
Copeuch,
obviamente, con mucha
and
cobertura, con
it
mucha
can be
infraestructura
done with
y
more
procesos
coverage
digitales.
with digital
A través de
processes.
sucursales
We
muy importantes
have a
en
very
nuestro país.
important branch network,
También se complementa con nuestra
and
capacidad
it
de operar
is
modelos de negocio
complemented
tradicionales, ¿cierto?
with our
Con
capacity of
ejecutivos
traditional
que están
model.
permanentemente en
We
distintas
have
comunas de nuestro país,
people
pero con la
in the
diferencia
different
que son
communities of
públicos. Entonces,
our
decirles a todos
country.
que
So I want to
nuestra
tell
misión,
everybody
el hecho de avanzar en la
that
digitalización, de incorporar
we
nuevas
are
tecnologías,
advancing in digitalization,
no nos aleja para nada
and
de los
this does
principios
not
cooperativos. Simplemente
deviate
nos da la
from a
posibilidad,
cooperative
¿cierto?,
principle.
de
It
tener una
gives us
estrategia
the
que nos permita
possibility of having a strategy to give a value proposition. And this is the winning strategy. And this is what the banks cannot copy. They can have as good as digital experience as we have, but they don't have the cooperative movement and values, that identity. So that is the winning strategy. And how to face banks would be to have these two topics. And when we talked about the fintechs, we had young people who developed a prepayment product, completely digital one, and they were not able to expand it. They developed a very good product, but the regulations limited them. So one of their consultants and approaches us and says, can we or would we be interested in this? And we saw an opportunity to accelerate our digitalization process with not only by buying the platform, but also incorporating this young talent into the cooperative. And this became Daleco Peuch virtual card that already has 170,000 users. And this is where we start with the digital cooperative.